Okay, hello everyone to the 8th Specter DIY builder call, and today we have Marco and Kanoinat. And yeah, Kanoinat, what is the call today about?
Yeah, so we have a couple of topics. So I hope that we get some people in here which could approve PRs and merge them, right? But yeah, we will definitely will need to have a look on the PRs because I merged one already this morning, and I would love to merge the one which is showing the end sequence, which you discussed it about it last week and the week before, and I hope that today we will um, we will be able to merge it. Um, Apart from that, I would like to explain a little bit about the upcoming release, and how we will gonna do that. But maybe first, yeah, and then there's also Marco who can maybe show us the latest state of the playground because there is some news about icons, and we just before we start the stream, we just discussed whether it's a good idea to have these icons or not. There's a PR on the playground which we should discuss. But before that, maybe we just had a short discussion about a shared understanding of what we actually already have on and what we actually not have yet. So what we have is a way. So Mike created a way to make MicroPython together with the new libraries working on the discovery board. But what is not working is creating the binary and flash it with the new libraries on the um, on the board. So what we can do in whenever we are making changes on the old firmware, and then we commit them. So maybe some changes in the Python code, for example, what we will discuss later on the end sequence. We have changes there. Then the GitHub Actions will create a binary. You can download that binary, and then you can flash it on the discovery board. This is not yet possible with the new libraries. But what is possible is that you can run them directly as Python code when you're copying them over the kind of repo um, port. So I want to demo that next week, and I will demo it next week. But I haven't prepared it yet. Mike showed a video how to do it, and I will hopefully will copy that and yeah, demo it next week. Yeah, and so now maybe we go over to Marco and show what he has done on the playground.
All right, so I will share the screen in a second. All right, so first, it should be, you see Bitcoin icons, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So first, a shout out to Bitcoin icons, because basically I took all the icons, downloaded them, and tried to incorporate the ones that I saw fit into the GUI. So shout out to them, bitcoinicons.com. And so what you can see is that I replaced actually most of the icons we had before with these Bitcoin icons because they had just more that were useful. The magic pins, of course, still 21. And I also just recently changed the layout a little bit to have the buttons take the full size, which I think is just nicer. Why waste space? And you will see that there are now more and more useful icons than before. One icon I had to introduce myself, because for the smart card I couldn't find anything, so I played a little bit around, and this is the self-created smart card icon that we have. And otherwise, I think it's very similar still to what I showed a couple of weeks ago. What I did is I also added a bit, because there seemed to have been some feedback on that. For the keyboard, I tried to play around with the keyboard a little bit, and now it's really working. So when you hit the check mark, it's really not here, but if you use it on the passphrase menu and enter passphrase and you hit the check mark, it really closes. You can clear right away, and yeah, this I think is working now better. And also, if you want to change, for example, the name of the wallet, this is now working. You can go to the wallet menu, go to, where is it? Just up here. You can also, after you've created, change the wallet name. But this is just, of course, one of the details that before we go to anything that we can seriously use, we have to add a lot of more functionality. But right now, I think the main focus is on the structure of the menus, the overall look and feel. And I think also last time, Schnurz, you gave feedback on the coloring and so on. So now we also have really red buttons for dangerous stuff. We can also see that if we manage the seed phrase, showing the seed phrase is at least orange, maybe not super red, but at least something you shouldn't just press if you don't intend. Of course, there should still be some pop-ups. So what currently is not in is things like pop-ups if you do something that give you hints. But before I'd go into such details, I'd rather, as a next step, try to introduce, on the one hand, multi-language processing, which is currently not working. And there was one other major topic which I wanted to add, but it's in the ticket. But otherwise, yeah, now we have more icons that are nicer. And I would be welcome, for example, if somebody gets it running on their at least on their desktop, to check icons are not fitting at all, if you think some of them are misleading or so, because currently I just did what I personally found most intuitive.
Yeah. And yeah. So this really looks nice. So I'm impressed. So it's much nicer than what we have so far. However, the PR was somehow very shocking to me. And so maybe we can jump over to the PR. So either I share my screen, or
Sure.
you do it. So, okay. Yeah, so this is the PR. You can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I
And as you can see, why is it dismissed? So what is this? Oh, there is some fancy new Copilot things coming up. But okay, I think, why can't I click the dismiss button? Now I can. Okay. Mainly added colors or new icons, right? So I'm not sure. So I think these are a lot of commits, and I think maybe the entirety, because this is probably the same branch which you have used last time, right? So then if a branch got merged to the main branch, and we already had that probably, so then what usually happens is that the entirety of the commits are squashed, so they are pressed together, combined to one commit, and then this one commit represents one commit in the main repo. So we can see that here, for example, there are some commits from here, and this here, vibe coding new UI, initial results. Yeah, so if we look here, this is the first PR, and that consisted of a lot of PR commits, and that got all combined to one commit, right? So added passphrase menu was the latest commit in here. And if we go back then, and that is the problem if you are using or reusing branches which have been merged already, right? Because more or less all that stuff is in here. So what's new is actually what's coming up here from these commits, 1DA, something like that, right? So this is somehow misleading. So it's not 669 files, which would absolutely shocking, right? So usually you review these PRs, you go in file by file, and you just think about whether it makes sense. And that are a lot of commits and a lot of changed files. So I really would love if we could reduce that. And one way to remove all the commits up to this one here, because it's misleading. This is already in.
Yeah, but
Right?
I assume that still most of the files will still be in the new stuff because it's going to be all the PNGs and the icons.
Yeah.
So these are a lot of very small files.
Yes, I would assume so as well. So if we, I think I can maybe even no, not that's not the way.
But of course, I can refactor the PR, remove the old, and squash the rest to one commit if that's important for you, of course.
Yes. So what I would do is um, squash the latest commits all to one commit, maybe, or not only. It depends a little bit, right? Maybe let me just if I do that like this, edit firmware menu. So that was exactly the last one as far as was it this one? Yeah, it's even because it's just not used to deal with so many files. It's very, very slow. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here, and yeah, we have to somehow untangle them because it's clearly so these C files are probably all not needed. Yeah, so because what we actually have are Python files, right, and then PNGs or whatever graphic format we were using here, but we these kind of all these files here. I don't know for what their purpose even is, but I guess somehow or someone is defining these files in terms of C, or I don't know. It's very slow. My machine is very slow.
What actually happened? So I don't the Bitcoin icons library is in a PNG or SVG, but I couldn't get the PNG importers directly running. So I had the AI code a script which converts the there was a support script which converts PNG into C files, and since LVGL is usually used in C, they were expecting C files and converted it into C. But since we use Python, I had then another script run over those created C files, which contain the actual data, and convert them into Python libraries. And the C files and so on are not needed for the runnable, but I wanted to have them in there so it's you also see and can reproduce that in the end later on. So it's not for executing the script.
But maybe then it's a reasonable idea to maybe separate them in a whole individual commits, and also do not put them into the scenario folder or in the source folder, but into a very kind of, I don't know, top folder, and yeah, maybe
Yeah, I understood it's basically a playground, so I didn't put much thought into our discussion. If you have any guidelines, so if we want to move it to production code, of course we have to refactor a lot of stuff here. That I understand.
But even for the playground, it's too much. You see that even GitHub is crashing because it's too many files for it. So now I can reshare, or I'm pretty sure that the reason was that this is such a large PR. Yeah. Yeah. So what I can do is, if you're not so familiar with Git, then I can at least make your branch somehow handleable, or
No,
somehow
I can make that all
manageable.
smaller if you want. I didn't know you wanted it that way, but of course I can change that.
Yeah, it's important, because if even GitHub is crashing, then it's way too much. So you need to somehow remove all these C files. I would then just get rid of it. It's a playground, yeah. So maybe it's interesting how to create it, but maybe then it's better to create a markdown file or something. You ask vibe coding to create a description of how you created that stuff, and then we rather have a description instead of the whole files, because the files could probably, hopefully, be downloaded from somewhere, right?
Yeah, but
So if
I mean it's like 600 files and they're size of 2 MB. I don't think there's so much data that this would crash GitHub. I cannot imagine that.
Yeah, now it's better. Maybe it was some reason, I don't know. Yeah, yeah. But here are the icons, and yeah, I just want to get it in a manageable format, and it's, oh, now it's getting slowly again. Yeah, it's very slow. I think it's a number of files which makes it not very easy to handle. For maybe it's also the browser, but I reduced almost all the tabs, so not sure how this could be managed. But maybe yeah, you remove all the C files. Maybe try to squash the commits in a reasonable way, and maybe then it gets somehow manageable. But in that way, it's from my point of view, it's not really possible to merge that, if that makes sense. Good. Do you now nothing is shared, right? Yeah, yeah, okay. But nevertheless, thank you for your effort. And yeah, just we can maybe take it offline to tidy that up somehow, either by yeah, creating maybe a new branch, and then first of all, yeah, maybe we can, if you have time, tomorrow at some point in time, we can have a meeting, and I show you how to most effectively tidy it up, or you can do it yourself if the if you think so. I'm not sure. You can take it offline anyway.
Nevertheless, I think I understand what you're going for. I will make the changes, make a new PR, and then you can see if it's fitting. Then you just merge it. Otherwise, we can take it offline.
Okay, cool. Well, other than that, I would love to go into the details of. Let me close that tab. Create a new tab. Go through the PRs. Share my screen. Yeah. So what this morning, I think I merged this little PR here with oh, oh yeah, there was from Oren. There was even a recommendation which I ignored more or less because I merged it already. Yeah, but this was more or less a prerequisite to making his PR work, which is this one here. And this is now still red here because it's not based on the version which is now main, so it's still based on the older version. So we will need to rebase this and then hope that the tests are going through, and I'm convinced that going through, and then we can merge that, right? So then I can maybe do that live if we have some time, but I doubt it. So this is this one here. Then this one is a PR where I make there are two binaries, right? So on the one hand side there is the upgrade binary, and then there's also the initial binary. And what we need in this case is, because we are changing the keys which are allowed to make upgrades, right? Because now if you put the binary onto a SD card, you put the SD card into the discovery board, and then you reboot, and then it checks the first thing. It realizes, oh, there's a binary update, and then it checks whether the binary update has a proper signature, and the signature needs to be coming from some potential keys, and those keys will get changed. So we will put Stepan out there. He doesn't want to do it anymore, and we will put my key in there, and then Mike and me and I can't remember whom else. I think crypto guys, to be able to make new releases. And for that, we need to put the new keys into the upgrade file, right? And this is usually not done. It's only added to the initial release. But now we need into the upgrade release as well, and that is the PR which will do that. So yeah, and there is a proof that this will work. So we have so it's an output of a tool which shows which keys are in which file, and it shows that the keys are in the upgrade file, and also in the initial firmware, right? So here you see public key analysis, and that wasn't in here before. That somehow proves that this is working. So yeah, and because we have really trouble, I have to say, to get enough people reviewing. So what I will that I think that this is enough for this to get merged, and I discussed it also with Mike. So and usually we have here a rule where we need at least one approval. And yeah, please shout at me in the chats. So I will bypass that rule because I have discussed it with Mike and he's fine with it. And we have two less reviews. So instead of shouting, please do reviews, or shout and do reviews, but not only shout, please, right? So because otherwise we will have difficulties. So important step for the release. And we have yet another step for the release, that is this here, right? So this is we talked about the keys, and here we have these changes. So this is in a in in a PR inspector bootloader, right? So we can look at the PR. It's mentioned here, I guess. Yeah, effectively it's two PRs, and we can look at the code. So there's a kind of link to the bootloader repository here, and there in the Specter bootloader repository, there's a keys folder, and there are in production there are the keys which are allowed to make releases, right? And that is currently Mike, Stepan, Ben, Moritz, and the backup key. And this will this will change, right? So because if you look at main or master, the master branch, then this looks a little bit different. Yeah. So it changed already here. So that was already a PR. So now it's me, Mike. Oh, Stepan is in there as well, and the backup key, right? So we're removing Ben, we're putting me in me, and these are the maintainers which are able technically to make releases in the future, right? So and that change is exactly what's the result of Spectre DIY. Let's DIY of this PR. So because this is now changing the kind of reference to the Spectre bootloader, and it no longer reference to the old version which I showed. It's now pointing to the new version. Some meetings before, there were a couple of hesitations to not merge that. So there was the question to make signature test. There was also the question doing an initial firmware and test the upgrade. Yes, that's all true. We also have this last one here is now fulfilled by what I just changed before, where I can prove that it will that it will that it will contain the keys in the upgrade firmware. But this is not really necessary to do that in that PR, right? So we have now an issue. This is the kind of roadmap. No, sorry. Of the two requirements will get fulfilled with executing on the issue. And I think I have to click here because otherwise you can't see that. Yeah, so this is the kind of plan for making a new release, and we will create a pre-release before, and that pre-release will be used to fulfill these requirements to make the test. Yeah, so don't worry, but yeah, we will. Oh, we have conflicts here, so I have to rebase that and cannot merge it because otherwise I would have done that now. Okay, that's all what I have. And so that's it from my side. And hopefully next week we already are in the mid of the release. And Marco's gone. Okay. And you are muted, Schwartz. You're still muted. I can't hear you.
And now you hear me? Yeah, Mike.
Yes.
Marco dropped out. He just wrote in the chat that he needs to have dinner, and you need to go as well, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Then we will see next week.
Yeah. Now only half community call. So hopefully we will have next week. We will be more people in here and be a little bit more effective. And yeah, hopefully very much closer to a new release. So thank you very much, and see you next week.
Good news. Yeah, perfect.
Bye bye.
Bye, ciao.